Hello and welcome to the Keto Man's Club podcast.
We're glad you're here, where each week we talk about men's health and lifestyle.
We do so with the foundation of the ketogenic diet and lifestyle.
If you don't know what keto is, stick around and you'll find out.
The podcast will bring you real, honest fun.
Each week we strive to uncover the tips and tricks that you can use in your everyday life to maximize your overall health.
Find the clearest path to becoming the best version of yourself that you were meant to be.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Keto Man's Club podcast. My name is Chris. I'm one of your hosts, and as always, I'm joined by Alberto and Jim. How's it going, guys?
Fantastic.
All good here.
Very cool. Well, let's dive right on in. I'm going to start with the what's new, because today I am excited to share my experience with the peanut butter chocolate keto brick. And it was amazing. It was, and the keto brick is a meal replacement brick, for lack of better term, because really that's what it is. And it's straight on 1,000 calories. And this, I love my peanut butter. So I was excited to see that they had this particular flavor coming, and so I picked up a week's worth, and I'm very glad that I did. This is by far my favorite flavor so far.
Where do you find these things, Chris? I've never had one. So. Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, yes, you have to order them straight from Robert and his gang at the Keto Savage compound. And so I that's ketobrick.com. You can see all things Keto Savage by going to ketosavage.com. I wear his clothes. I have one of his shaker jugs that are stainless that I can use I use that mainly for my electrolytes. It makes sure that they mix in well, because otherwise it can end up getting a little grainy at the bottom. So I'm a big fan of Robert, and it doesn't hurt that I get to work a little bit with him too. So what else is new with you guys?
I am treating some coworkers tomorrow to Starbucks, and one of the things that I always see in a lot of the beginner keto groups on Facebook and whatnot is that repetitive question that is beating the dead horse with a dead horse. What can I have at Starbucks? Mm-hmm. So I posted to the group earlier today about I knew that I've never had a bulletproof coffee, a legit bulletproof coffee, and so I thought, well, I'll try this and see. But then a couple of the members suggested some other things, so I'll be placing an order for something rather specific, I guess, from Starbucks tomorrow, and we'll see how that goes.
I think they suggested a nitro cold brew.
You got it. Uh-huh. Yes. That's so foreign to me that I couldn't even now, Chris, because I had to write it down because I've never had a cold brew unless it's a beer. So this is a whole different thing in my mind. So something about shots of sugar-free vanilla in there, have a whipping cream.
Raw egg?
Yeah. No, Alberto, no, I love you, man, but there will not be a raw egg.
And a raw egg in cold brew would probably not go very well.
Yeah.
I can take a raw egg into a fatty coffee, but I couldn't do cold. It would not mix. It would not mix well.
It probably wouldn't.
Yeah. So I'll save that for a trip to Texas, and we'll see how many raw eggs we can chug, and I'll let you win that contest, by the way.
You wouldn't even know it's in there.
Oh, but mentally I would.
It'll be one of those things where I'll pour 2 mugs of coffee and I'll just hand you one and just stare at you.
Note to self, never take a drink from Alberto. Never, ever. So that's my story of the week, so to speak.
Alberto, how about you?
A lot. In my typical trend of not preparing for anything, I decided to climb a mountain over the weekend. So we drove 8 hours to Big Bend, camped at the Chisos Basin, and then woke up early in the morning and hiked 5.3 miles up 2,700 feet to an elevation of just over 7,000 feet. That took about 5 hours to get up there. Hung out for a few minutes, a couple high fives, and 4 hours to get down, and for a total of a 10.6 mile hike for my first ever hike. I figured, why start easy? Just kind of go for it and see what happens. And it was an experience. That's for damn sure.
Yeah. Well, and the wildlife liked it too, apparently.
Oh yeah. There's there's a friendly deer. We saw tarantula, a bunch of lizards, giant centipedes, and then a bear decided to join us in camp and eat from a tree 20 feet behind our tent. So I don't know who scared who more, if the bear scared me more, or if I scared the bear more, but we called it a draw. We both went about our way.
Yeah. Luckily it was a bear cub and mama didn't show up. So yeah, the mama not showing up is probably the more important part of that factor, though.
Yeah, probably.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's pretty cool. Let's dive right into our shout outs real quick. Alberto, who do you have for us this week?
I'm going to go with member John Lyle. I was working in El Paso also last week. I had a busy last week. And, put it out there on the group. Hey, I'll be in El Paso, blah, blah, blah. And he lives in, I think about 60 miles away in New Mexico. And made the trek out, picked me up from the hotel, saved me from hotel boredom. And we went out and got some steaks and pretty much had a great conversation and hung out, man. It was awesome. He was a really cool guy. And now we are mildly, through comments on Facebook, going to plan a hike somewhere up in Colorado because apparently I'm good at this.
Yeah. Yeah. For some reason, you're good at pretty much anything physical. That's really what I've noticed.
The key is not preparing, because if you prepare and you practice, then you're going to realize it might suck. But if you don't prepare, you don't practice, you don't know how much it sucks till you get there. And once you're there, you may as well just keep going.
Yep, pretty much. Well, I want to highlight the thread that was started by Austin Beck. He got a Transformation Tuesday thread going, and it's 44 comments deep, and all sorts of folks have shared, including you, Alberto. But there's some really amazing changes that these guys have put themselves through, and you can just tell they have regained their health. It's not about the weight. It's all about them regaining health. Most of them, they look happier, more satisfied. There's just an air about them that's just like, yeah, I did this. And that's got to be such an excellent feeling. So bravo to all of you guys. But Austin, thanks for starting us out on that thread. Jim, how about you?
I want to shout out to Trey Ethan. So Trey has been in the group for a little while. Put up a photo or pair of photos yesterday, asking the question, is 50 years old too old to go on a job interview? And he has his before and after photos, and he actually wrote that he had to go to a thrift store to get a new suit because nothing that he had actually fit. So big shout out, Trey, for making a big transformation. There's 20, 30 some comments in here. I wish I had planned a little bit farther ahead. I think I don't know how much weight in inches he's actually lost, but it's a remarkable transformation. So big shout out to him for all the effort and everything.
Absolutely. That suit that he was wearing was a very, very large amount smaller than the before picture that he was posting. And it fit him very, very well too.
It did.
That's kind of, part of that too, is it looked really
good. So that's a bigger win. What didn't he say? Because he went to a thrift store, right? So that's a bigger win. He actually found one that fit.
Yeah. Well, and that, funny stuff like that, I have more weight to lose. I don't hide that from anyone, but I'm a much smaller size. I've known for a little while that I've been able to wear 34s. For the longest time, I shared this with the group at one point this weekend. For the longest time, I could never find things on the clearance rack because I was too large. I was just outside of that sweet spot for things that end up on the clearance rack. Then for a while, I could wear this stuff on I am now on the other side of that. I hit up Walmart. I was looking for something else, but I was not really quite liking what I had on for Sunday morning service, and I just wasn't happy. And so I perused the Walmart, lane for something as a cheap replacement real quickly. And none of the stuff on the clearance rack was 34s. And I'm going, okay, this is new. So it's kind of a crazy win to be on that other side, that you have more things available, like suits at thrift stores that are actually going to fit you and stuff, because I would have never had that before. I've had to custom size things many times actually, for one thing or another, or either that or just pick things that I didn't like. I think we've all been there.
Oh yeah.
Well, we have kept our guests waiting long enough, so let's go ahead and dive on in. We have Cody, is it Myler? I didn't ask earlier.
Yeah. It's Myler.
Okay. We've got Cody Myler. He's a trainer. He's keto. He has started an organization that when you pronounce it, is NAKA, the National Athletic Keto Association. He started that this year. They have a competition coming up, which is going to be really cool to see. It's in Dallas, Texas, and we wanted to get him on, talk about that a little bit, talk about his story. He's got his own keto podcast, or his own fitness podcast, that he's talked with all the keto people in the fitness scope of things on, and beyond that some. And he's even getting to speak for Allie Miller for an event that she has here soon in Dallas. So some really cool stuff going on for Cody. So Cody, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's start at the beginning. beginning. We always do that. Kind of tell us a little bit about who you are, kind of where, how you came up, maybe where you were raised, and a little bit of background, and what brought you up to the point of finding the ketogenic way.
Yeah, absolutely. So I originally am from a very small town in Missouri called Fordland, Missouri. Graduated with like 48 people in my class. Basketball has always been my life. It's my love. I went on and played college basketball at the D1 and D2 level. And then during my sophomore year, which I'll come back and hit on this, but during my sophomore year, I found out I had a fractured back, and I was born with that, called spondylosis. So I had a medical red shirt, but I was able to continue. I actually played 1 year pro ball in the D League, and then I went and became a college basketball coach, and that's what brought me to Texas. I was coaching at Jacksonville College in East Texas. I stayed there for 3 years. During my second year there, they also wanted me to become the head strength and conditioning coach as well. So I was assistant men's basketball coach and then the head strength and conditioning coach. So I did that for 2 years after that. And, during my time on the road and recruiting and, just seeing the life of the coaching life, it was something I was like, wow, do I really want to put myself in that position? Because I was seeing guys that were probably in their mid 40s and they look like they're pushing 60. They were just stressed out and they weren't healthy and, all that stuff. So I said, I want to step away from coaching. I want to see what I feel about that. And I moved to Dallas. Really didn't have a true plan. I just moved. I just wanted to actually live in a bigger city. And so I got a small apartment uptown and I started thinking a little bit more. I took some time off and I said, why don't I just become a trainer and go work at some gyms? Because that's what I've been doing. I've been working with, athletes and stuff like that. So in my eyes, I had a different view of what personal training was than what reality really is. And so after going to a couple gyms, interviewing, and I had a few different offers, I decided to go with of all of them, the 24-hour fitness, which was the Magic Johnson 24-hour. And that's really what got me, because it was just the sponsored by Magic Johnson. Mm-hmm. And so I ended up working there and quickly realized that, personal training at a corporate gym is more like being a car salesman. And I ended up being the top in sales in Texas and all of Georgia, but it was never good enough. It was just like, okay, Cody, you brought in $15,000 in PT this month. Next month you need to bring 17.5, while the second highest was like 11. And all they cared about was just getting that next person in. They didn't care about people's goals and what their health is or anything like that. And I was working with an amateur MMA fighter at the time, and he had a small business in Deep Ellum. And he said, Cody, man, you've got to get out of here. And during my time, I stayed at 24-hour for 8 months. And so I first started off as a trainer, and then I ended up being the assistant fitness manager before I left. And I was pretty much in control of all the personal trainers and all that good stuff in the program. But he was like, Cody, you've got to get out of here. This just isn't for you. And I knew it. So he said, I'll give you a spot in my business. I'm telling you, it was probably less than 300 square foot, but he was like, I'll let you have that for free if you just train me for free. And I said, let's do it. And that was November of 2007. And so at that time, I just turned 27 years old, and I'm about to turn 39 here in just a few weeks. And so I went ahead and took a part-time job at Dick's Sporting Goods so that way I could get a discount on fitness equipment. And what was planning, really, man,
I like your thinking.
And what was really good about that was a lot of people would come in and ask about, hey, what treadmill should I get or what ellipticals should I buy? Because they put me in the fitness department. And I would I know it probably wasn't the right thing to do by Dick's Sporting Goods, but I would really talk them out of buying the treadmill, and I'd be like, guys, I know what the end of this story looks like. This treadmill is going to end up being like a clothes hanger 6 months down the road. Why don't you actually learn how to get healthy? Let me help you out. So I've actually got a few clients out of Dick's Sporting Goods from doing that as well. And so I stayed there only for that November, December, and I remember January 7th, 2008 is when I finally left, everything and went on my own. And from that point, I had that little like 300 square foot space. And then about a year and a half later, another gym opened up just down the road from me. And I had a lock on that area, and I had a pretty good boot camp. What's funny is I really wanted to bring this up with you guys. I was listening to your guys' podcast when you were talking about the liquid energy, and you guys were talking about that, what's that called? The Rough It, I think, the Rough It backpack or something?
Rucking.
Rucking. Yeah, the rucking.
Mm-hmm.
It brought me back to, so I started back in 2008, I started what was called the Sidewalk Boot Camp. And what I would do is I went to one of like the dollar stores here in Dallas, and they had these really cheap backpacks. And all the people that signed up for my boot camp, I would go and I found these like the perfect size of like Tupperware, and I would fill them up. There were two of them. I remember there were two of them, and I would fill them up to 5 pounds a piece of concrete. So it was 10 pounds total. And I would put that in those backpacks. And then also that was the time when TRX suspension trainers were coming out. Mm-hmm. And those things are like, well, they still are. They're like $120, $130 a pop. And I had like 25 to 30 people in my boot camp class. And at the time, I couldn't afford any of that for all those people. So I went to Home Depot and I went and bought tons of rope and PVC. And so what we would do is we would jog 2 blocks on the sidewalk in a line, kind of like, the army, everybody's in a line. And then the next 2 blocks, I would do some type of a movement while you had that bag on your back. Yeah. So you're carrying that 10 pounds of concrete with you, and we would do, lunges, jumping jacks, you name it, push-ups, whatever, during those other 2 blocks. And so it ended up being 3 miles. And then we would end at a covered parking lot, and I measured the height of the covered parking lot. So that way these homemade suspension trainers that I made were like the perfect length to where if we needed to do exercise where you put your feet in there, or you wanted to do, different type of rows, inverted rows, whatever it is, it worked out perfect. And I didn't have, and so those were stuffed in everybody's bags too. And they just threw them over the bar, and that's what it was. So when you guys were talking about that, it really brought me back to when I started making these bags for everybody. It was kind of funny. But anyway, there was, like I said, there was another gym that opened up, and they knew that I kind of had the boot camp thing going on and all the personal training. And they said, hey, instead of us going against each other, why don't we help each other? And we'll give you 600 square foot within our 4,000 square foot gym. And you help manage this location, and you don't have to pay us any rent, because they had 2 locations. And I said, okay. So I went ahead and made that move. And at the time, the guy that I was training for MMA, he was having a kid, and it was about the right time to go ahead and move on. And I stayed at that location for another year. And then from that point, I moved to a bigger location. And that one was my own. And that was about a 1,200 square foot place. And in 2010, ATI, which is like a technical community college, they hunted me down, and they noticed that I have my master's and that I have pretty much every certification through NASM. And they were looking for somebody to come and teach their NASM program, the National Athletic Keto, National Academy of Sports Medicine. So they wanted me to teach their personal training program. And so I did that for 2 years. And I knew the end in their college or their organization was coming, because they were doing some real shady stuff, and the Texas Workforce Commission shut them down, and I knew it was coming. And so I called NASM myself and said, hey, I've been teaching this for 2 years. I've got every certification under the moon with you guys. My master's, or my bachelor's is in education, my master's in sports administration. And I just was like, what can we do to open my own school? And we worked it out, and I was able to open up my own NASM personal training school in 2012. And so I moved locations and opened up a 4,000 square foot location in 2012 and took my name off of it. And that's when I started Next Rep Fitness in Dallas. And that's a 24-hour gym in Dallas, and stayed there at that location for 2 years. And then 5 years ago, I moved into the location I'm at now, and I actually next week am signing another 2-year lease, so I'll be there 7 years. And this one's 8,500 square foot, and it's one of those real deal, old school, no frills gym. If you're a bodybuilder, we got everything for bodybuilding. If you're a CrossFitter, if you're an everyday person, if you're an athlete, because I work with work with everybody across the board, from pro athletes to the everyday person, to people that compete in bodybuilding competitions and all that good stuff. So I wanted to build a gym that could give everybody all those opportunities, plus have it be open 24/7, so that way there's no excuse at all. You can't tell me, oh, I couldn't get there before you closed. So I wanted to have that. So that's how the gym part of it and me working with NASM and having my own school began on that side of it. Now, as far as keto goes, so in 2014, well, just a little bit before that, my mother-in-law and father-in-law, they would always talk about, they're in ketosis, and I really didn't know a whole lot about that. I remember, studying a little bit about that, but really didn't understand it. And, I was just kind of looking at the foods, and I just really didn't agree with it. I was like, no, I don't agree with how you're eating and everything. And like I told you, I was a college basketball coach. And so I had access to a lot of, private forums and stuff that a lot of people didn't have, that were either college or NBA. And at the time, LeBron James, when he was leaving Miami to go back to Cleveland, he wanted to keep his muscle mass, but he wanted to slim down a little bit. And so Michael, his trainer, put Carmelo and LeBron in the same year on a keto/paleo meal plan. And I got to see it before they published it all out. And when I was looking at that and studying it, I was like, wow, now this is something I agree with. I agree with how the foods are. Now let me understand, what the hell is this keto thing doing? Like, what is it? What's the science behind it? So I understand the foods and I see what you're trying to do. And so in 2014, instead of me going out and talking about keto and just, really being verbal about it, I really stuck my head in the books and started talking to different doctors and doing different experiments with myself or with clients for 2 years. And so in 2016, that's when I finally really said, okay, I'm going full blown, coaching people in keto and really helping them, because I did a lot of research on it and was able to talk to a lot of doctors that didn't agree with it. And I wanted to hear why. And I got to listen to a lot of doctors that did agree with it and wanted to hear why. And then also different fitness professionals that, they've used it for 20 years, but they only used it for like your last 3 or 4 weeks, prepping for a show to cut down. And so it was really interesting to see these different theories, but yet when I was using it on my basketball players or people, well, it was more I was seeing the difference in the basketball players. I already knew the body composition was going to change in people that were competing, but my basketball players and endurance sports players, watching their energy levels after we were able to truly get them fat adapted, it was awesome to watch. And I kick myself in the butt now, because I wish in 2016 I would have started a YouTube channel, or really did something on social media and really talked about how I'm coaching keto, but I didn't. You guys hear, I'm almost 40 years old. I really didn't think about social media. I just focused on my gym and focused on my clients, and that's really about it. And so, we fast forward a few years. I've been doing this for a long time now, and about 2.5 years though, when I moved my location to the bigger one I'm at now, I tell you, it was everything I could to just keep the doors open in my gym, because, bigger rent now and all that stuff. And all I focused on was marketing and getting people, in the door so that way we could stay open. And then I was just focused on training my clients, but I didn't focus on myself for a good 2.5 years. And finally, it was about this time last year where I was out in Vegas, and I actually ran into one of the players that I coached at Jacksonville College out of nowhere. And I'm like, Michael, man, what's up? And we take a picture, and I look at it later on that night on my phone, and I was like, good God, Cody, you have let yourself go, man. You have just really let yourself go. And I was about the largest number I saw on the scale was 255 for me.
And how tall are you, Cody, real quick?
Well, I'm 6'6". So, I held it well, but at the same time, knowing where I have been before, I was like, wow, I've let myself go. And so, I said, you know what? I'm going to get back, because even during the course of that, I would be on keto for 2-3 months, then get off, and then go back on and get off. But I never just said, okay, this is my life now. And finally last year, I said, you know what? I'm done with this. I know what's the right thing to do, and let's go. Let's do it. And so I've been hardcore on the keto lifestyle personally myself for over a year now. And the lowest I got down, I don't really want to get too low, but I was 221 just like a month and a half ago. But I like to stick between that 225, 230 range. So anyway, that's where that is. But I wanted, it wasn't until even though I knew keto was so important and so, it helped so many people that I've worked with, I didn't really know the true effects of it until I finally made that decision that I'm just going full keto. And then once I saw all the benefits, that's when I said, okay, Cody, I gotta give keto more of an opportunity and talk about it more, because this needs to get out there. And during my whole time, from working with people that compete to just people at the gym, I tell them about keto, and I tell them I'm educating them about it and telling them you have 20 net carbs or whatever it may be for that person. And it's a real negative vibe when you're talking to dudes that are like trying to build muscle, and they're like, oh my god, I gotta have 400 grams of carbs and I gotta have 400 grams of protein. And so I was the guy, like, everybody's looking at me like, dude, you don't know what you're talking about. Like, this is crazy. Like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about with this keto stuff.
Yeah, that hasn't changed.
No, it hasn't. And so in December, that's when I came up. So NAKA, the National Athletic Keto Association, is kind of my revenge to the fitness community. Like,
I love it. I love it already.
Because I think there's the fitness industry, and then there's the keto fitness industry. Now, I do think the keto fitness industry is lacking, and that's another thing. Like, I just noticed that I would say probably 70% of the people that do keto just do keto, but they don't combine keto and fitness. And that's one of my biggest drives, that I'm trying to show people that really take the true benefits of what a ketogenic diet or even a carnivore diet can do for you. Because when you can combine fitness into your life, that is absolute true health. And so that between trying to motivate people to push their body to a different limit, and then to prove to the fitness industry, like, people that were probably at Olympia this weekend and all that stuff, I want to prove to them that, hey, this works and it's not going anywhere. And NAKA is going to be the forefront of all this. And so, it was over Christmas week of last year when I really thought about how I wanted to do this, and I worked on it for about 3.5 months. And it was about I think April, when I drove to Austin, and I approached Goody Beats, and I said, hey man, here's what I'm starting. And I started telling him about it, telling him my vision, and he was like, dude, this is awesome. I love it. And it went from Goody Beats to then I made a phone call with Robert Sykes. I'm telling him, and he was totally on board. And it's just kind of snowballed. And now we are coming to the first event on October 12th here in Dallas. And we've got some really, really, really big names and people that not only are in the keto space, but also in the keto fitness space as well. And that's really where I'm wanting it to go.
Very, very cool. So, talk just a little bit more about what's going to be happening at this. It's more than just a fitness competition. Tell us a little bit about the event, what it's going to look like, dates, all that type of stuff.
Yeah. So, and that is one thing that I have gotten a little bit of feedback from. Kind of like I said earlier, that a lot of people that do keto are, they've never been into a gym before, and so they've seen the flyer, and it has bodybuilding real big on it. And I've had people be like, well, yeah, I'm not really into, bodybuilding. I'm not a bodybuilder, so I don't know if I should go. And guys, that's not what it's about. That is an aspect of what this is. We're bringing in, we got 6 guest speakers. We have Sean Wells, which he's going to be talking about, the science of keto and how it works. We got Robert Sykes. We haven't finalized everything that he's going to be talking about yet. Then we have Lauren Berryhill. She's going to be talking about body dysmorphia more through, the with women and stuff. Let's see who else. Oh, we have William Schufelt coming in. Still haven't figured out what he's going to talk about yet. Goody Beats is going to be speaking. He's going to be talking about your why. Like, why are you doing this? And, going and finding your why in your life. And then we've been working on it, and we finally got it narrowed down. And I posted the other day, Danny Vega is going to be coming in, and he's going to be talking about I think the 21 rules about muscle building on a ketogenic diet. So there's going to be a lot.
That guy doesn't know much.
Yeah. No.
I'm halfway through his workout program right now, and let me tell you, it's a beautiful thing.
That's cool. That's cool.
Beautiful thing.
Yeah, definitely. I know one of the guys that's competing in the competition. I think he's going through that program as well, and I mean he's been having some great results, and he's truly dedicated to it too. I'm really impressed with the collection of athletes that we were able to get at such a short notice, and the collection of athletes that want to be a part of it next year. I mean, I've got a lot of people that have said, both on the men and women's side, that have been like, Cody, I want to compete next year. I definitely want to do this. This is something I want to be a part of. And my overall goal, I don't know how likely this will happen, but I have been talking to Robin Schweitzer with KetoCon. We've been going back and forth on emails and text, and my goal is to have a NAKA show at KetoCon next year, and then have the finals in Dallas about this time next year as well. So that I'm really shooting for that. I went live last night telling people, everybody, every time KetoCon posts something, people need to hashtag let NAKA in. That's your hashtag. You need to write let NAKA in, because I think it would be really, really cool to have that going on at KetoCon as well, because it just brings a whole nother reason on why you should live that lifestyle and show that it really works, not just for weight loss, but for muscle building, for overall health, for performance, and everything.
No, I hear you. And I mean, obviously, we never really met each other. Like, I'll give you the 5 minute, not even 5 minute, 5 second background on me. I'm 40 years old, suffered from ulcerative colitis for most of my adult life, half of my adult life, to be perfectly honest. Avid weightlifter for probably about 7 or 8 years now, and just happened to stumble across keto and decided to give it an 8-week shot to see what would happen. This is like, it couldn't make me worse. I was metabolically busted up. So that 8 weeks was almost 3 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Since
nice.
then, I reversed all my metabolic damage. I've been off medication for it's 500 days as of this morning, which doctors said
awesome.
was never going to be possible. I went from 37 years old, 200 pounds, avid weightlifter at about 27% body fat, where now I'm 40 years old, 176 pounds, and somewhere in the low teens.
Nice.
So like everything you're saying, like, it rings true. Like everything that just clicked, my metabolism healed, the weight shed off, and like the amount, the physical things that I'm able to do now that I wasn't able to do 10 years ago because I was so sick, just completely blows my mind. Like, I'm not a very big dude. I'm 5'8", 176 pounds, but I got a 415 pound deadlift with no gear on at all. Just me, my hands, and the bar, So
it's awesome, isn't it?
Yeah, it was great. It's just like, and I'm just, like I said, over the weekend, I went and climbed the mountain, and I ran a 5K because it was running past my house, and I thought it'd be a good idea. Silly stuff like that. And it's like the mindset that changes. And so like, and everything that goes with that, like the diet is such a small part of it. Like anyone that goes through any kind of health journey, you learn so much about yourself. And like while you're sitting there cooking your own meals from scratch, and the amount of thought you have into it, and just like so much of yourself comes out. And like you're saying, just the diet is such a small part of it. Mm-hmm. But back to my original question, you said competition, and I heard, Athletic Keto Association. So what exactly is the competition part?
So I was really hoping this year we would have not only the bodybuilding part of it. So there's the men's physique, and then we have women's figure competition. But I was really hoping that we could have, I was going to call it the NAKA Fit games, to where it's kind of like the CrossFit games. And I was wanting to have something like that. We just didn't have quite enough people to sign up in time to really make that happen. But my overall goal is to have enough competitors that are going going to compete in both men's physique and men's classic physique, which those are two totally different divisions as far as the way your build is and how you pose and stuff. And then also women's figure and bikini. And then also I want to have enough competitors where we can have age groups. You know, since this is the first one, you know, it's kind of unfair to some degree, but you know, we've got some guys in the 20s and some guys in their 40s competing, you know, together on the same stage this year, just because it's just the first one and we didn't have that many people compete. But next year is going to be totally different. So I want to have that. I want to have the NAKA Fit Games, and then I also want to bring in one thing that's really big in the keto community that I've seen a lot is powerlifting, and I really want to bring a powerlifting competition in. So you know, that's the overall goal. How quickly we get there, I'm not for sure, but that's my dream. That's what I see, you know, in my head when I think about NAKA and what the competitions look like. And at the same time, I want it to be not only the competitions and the fitness, but I want also to have fun and have a lot of energy going on, but then also learn, you know, like, you know, that's why we have the guest speakers and all that. So I want people that, you know, maybe intrigued in what this is doing and what keto can do or carnivore can do for you, and have that opportunity to learn. So that's why I really think it'd be awesome to have this as part of KetoCon as well, because that's what KetoCon's all about. It's all about the education, and then obviously they have the exhibitors and you can learn about new products, and that's what we're doing too. We're going to have exhibitors and you know, all that good stuff. So I just think it would be an awesome little combination to bring, you know, hopefully in the next year. You know, I hope that's the goal.
Yeah.
No, I think that's great.
Yeah, it's really awesome. How about you? Why do I kind of get the sneaking suspicion that you are absolutely going to apply for one or both aspects of these competitions in the near future?
Like, I'm down for a lot of stuff, but standing on stage and posing is, I don't know, man. I might have to get talked into that one.
Dude,
that's
just
not my
imagine
game.
it's your cell phone camera and you're taking a shirtless pic for
There
the
you go.
club like you normally do. It's
Well,
the
there's no
same
shortage of
thing
those, I'll give you
with
that.
a bigger audience.
Yeah, it's more acceptable now to wear, you know, longer shorts. You don't have to wear a bikini on stage anymore, right?
Oh,
yeah,
yes,
no,
he does.
in the physique, it's board shorts.
Board shorts.
Yeah. In the classic physique, they are all black, kind of like boxer briefs.
Okay.
That's what they are.
That's a little better than the bikini brief style.
Nobody needs to see me in a Speedo.
Jim, I think you had a question.
I'm just trying not to picture Alberto and Keto at the moment. Sorry about that. Very bad segue there. So, Cody, my question is, something you mentioned earlier on, and when you were learning about keto, is that you wanted to talk with doctors who were pro-keto and anti-keto. And I know that there are so many, you know, different groups out there, different ways of thinking about it and everything. Tell me some of the pros and cons that you heard and what your overall evaluation came from those discussions.
So the cons that I heard were two things. There's no way that you can live healthy off of that low carbs. You need carbs. You need good complex carbs to be able to live and function. And then the other one was there's no way in hell you're going to function and live and eat that high amount of fat. And you know, one thing that I've learned, and it's I'm really glad you guys have seen the fat documentary. And I'm glad he talked about how many hours a doctor really puts in on nutrition in their medical schooling. I mean, my brother-in-law is a doctor, and he backed up what that even said, and they don't spend a lot of time on nutrition. It's 30 to 40 hours in credit hours, and that's it. And so, you know, when I would talk to some of these guys, and then what's really ironic about it, I would say probably 8 out of the 10 that I would talk to were very obese themselves, and they ate just the regular American diet. But yet they're telling me, you can't have these carbs, you know, you can't live without carbs, and you can't eat this amount of fat and be healthy. And then you would have the whole other spectrum, which totally agreed with how it worked. But at the same time, they agreed with it, but they didn't truly, like, I can think of one person that really really understood keto. One doctor here in Dallas that just really, he got it. He understood. The other ones saw the connection and understood how it might work, but they didn't know anybody that did it, or anything like that. So that's why once I started to kind of move from the medical field, then I started going into talking to other fitness people that have actually used it. Like, it's funny. I don't know if you guys know, he passed away now, but Rich Piana. I mean, this guy's known for taking every steroid under the sun. But
Yeah.
there's, if you YouTube keto, Rich Piana, he does go on there. It's only about a minute long, and he talks about, he loved keto. He loved, what it does for you. Now, what he said is, I don't think you can use keto to build mass. Now, I think if you're asking me, Cody, can you build muscle on keto? I'm going to tell you absolutely you can, but you're not going to build muscle or hypertrophy on a strict keto diet. You can build strength. There's two different worlds there. Now, if you want to build size hypertrophy, you need to either go into targeted keto or cyclical keto. That's where you're going to build your hypertrophy and your mass. But for 8 months, when I got back on it and I was 255, I went and got my RMR test, where that's where you breathe into a mask for 10 minutes and it tells you exactly how many calories that you need at your resting metabolic rate. And I did my DEXA scan. So I was able to know exactly how many grams of protein I needed to take, and then exactly what my calorie intake was at the time. At the time, I was burning 2,200 calories a day if I just laid in bed all day long. Didn't do crap. My body had to use 2,200. Well, I ate 2,000 calories a day for 6 months. And I was working out for an hour about 5 days a week. So when I was working out, I was burning about 3,200 calories a day. So I was in a huge deficit every single day. When I went back to get retested, I was in shock myself. To kind of go back to what you said about, all of a sudden you're deadlifting and you're doing all these things at 40 years old. I was shocked because not only was I doing keto, but also incorporating fasting as well. I didn't do crazy long fast. I was anywhere between, the minimum was 12 hours every day, but I probably was more about 13 and a half, 14, and then I quit it. But I did that to raise my human growth hormone naturally. And what was crazy, and it shocked me, is even at such a low deficit calorically, I still gained 2 pounds of muscle and I lost 6% body fat, but I still gained muscle. Now, 2 pounds isn't a huge amount because I was at such a low deficit, but at the same time, I still built muscle, which was crazy. Yeah, it was crazy. And you're taking in so much of the amino acid, your leucine, that it's a muscle preserving amino acid. So that's part of the reason why when LeBron James and Carmelo, their trainer put them on keto, that's the reason why they did that, is because that preserved their muscle. Keto is the only meal plan or diet out there that maintains your muscle mass while you're cutting. It's the only one out there. And I don't know why people can't accept that, but man, they have a hard time hearing that. And
science.
Yes,
so kind of get back to what, exactly. So, kind of get back to what you're talking about with the doctors and everything. That was probably just the biggest pushbacks that I was getting. Just there's some of my clients that I don't let them have more than 10 grams of carbs a day because they are so sensitive to any type of carb that they just blow up. It just kind of depends. Like myself, I can take about 60 grams of carbs and nothing really happens, and I can still be in ketosis. But at the same time, I've been doing this for a long time and working out pretty intensely. You can't be a beginner and just jump into that and do that. You're just not going to get the benefits of ketosis. You're not going to get into it. So, that's kind of where it kind of came from.
Yeah, and I get asked all the time, and kind of following what you were saying, you can't, people ask all the time, can you build muscle on keto? And I give them the most logical answer that I can is absolutely you can build muscle on keto. It is a painfully slow process, but it's like a true gain. And there's for me, the pump is 24/7. Like when I work out, sure, I get a little extra vascular, but I don't go flat. You hear about those guys after a few hours at the gym or later that day, they go flat. There is no going flat. And sure, I could probably be bigger if I was introducing more carbs, and I've learned through experimenting that carbs do not agree with me at all. But yeah, as you were saying, yes, you could absolutely build it. It is a painfully slow process, and the pump is there. And to me, the fact that I'm metabolically healthy and just those facts alone, I'm like, you know what? I'll pick my battles. I don't got to be the biggest guy, but I'll put my strength and my size up against anyone.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's awesome over the years that I've been coaching. I mean, I've been coaching keto for 6 years, but this last year is when I said, all right, Cody, it's time. You're going full time keto. This is your life now. But I over the 6 years, I've seen so many people's blood work just absolutely go in amazing directions for them. When, at the beginning, when I started telling them about, hey, we're going to go keto and we're going to try this out for the next 90 days. And they're like, what? We're going to eat that? Like, we're having 70% fat? No way. And then they're just in complete awe. And then their doctors, I love it when I get the response from the doctors. They're just like, hold up, wait, this is what you're eating and these are your lab results? No way. It's awesome.
So, one thing that we always, when we have someone who's into fitness, a trainer, that does plans, that we like to ask, and sometimes this is that loaded question where you just know that it's, that the answer is going to be eat real food or something like that. But do you have any go-to supplements that are keto friendly that you either promote or, for when it's applicable for your clients that you utilize?
Yeah, definitely. I think those change, the supplements change depending on where you are in your keto journey or what your goals are. I think honestly at the beginning, I try to just I really try to be as low supplement wise as possible outside of like, I personally don't like eating beef liver. So I have people just take the tablets. So I want them to take them and a good multivitamin at the beginning, because I want them to really learn how to do this. And I think it gives you the opportunity to really learn your body better. And then once you start adding like proteins, like I personally don't like being on a whey protein for most people. I like to be on just a straight grass-fed beef protein. So that's why I usually have all my clients on, because just whey protein, a lot of people still carry a little bit of weight. Like even in bodybuilding stuff, while you're cutting, you get off of all whey protein just because you just carry a little bit with whey. So beef protein is just awesome. But I work with American Metabolics with Goody Beats and stuff. So I do Keto Pump, and then also right now I'm also using the with Dr. Jordan Joy the Archetype Super Carb. So that's what I'm doing. I actually, since the Super Carb doesn't have any caffeine in it, I actually mix the Keto Pump and the Super Carb together before my workout with 5 grams of creatine, and so that's what I do. But I'm doing a targeted keto, so that I wouldn't have somebody take the Super Carb if they just started keto. So that's why I say the supplements kind of vary depending on where you're at and what your goal is, So yeah, I could really dive into that a lot more, but in general, that's kind of where I'm at.
Sure. No, I think that mindset is right. And I do think that depending on what your goals are, the answer is always going to be a little more complicated than just eat real food. Although, Alberto has coined the phrase, and I absolutely agree with it, steaks over shakes any day, all day long.
Absolutely. Right now I'm eating, just kind of give you an update. I guess it's been about a month now. I went and got another DEXA scan and I did another RMR, and my metabolism now, if you guys remember, I said I was burning 2,200 calories before. Well, now I'm burning 2,500 calories at rest. So now I'm eating 2,500 calories a day, but I'm doing a little experiment right now. I'm on my 4th week, I believe right now. I'm eating keto foods, but I'm not eating the keto macros, if that makes sense. So I'm eating right now 30% fat, 60% protein, and keeping my carbs, right about once I do the net, because I told you I'm doing targeted, I'm getting about 31 net carbs a day. So I'm eating 2,500 calories. So I'm having about 340 grams of protein right now. And what I'm also using, I'm doing extended fast, about 16 hours. And then I'm using, not the Go BHBs, but I'm using the DBHBs. Me and Sean Wells, we talked about this a lot and talked about the benefits of a DBHB exogenous ketone. And so I might not be in a nutritional ketosis, but I'm in exogenous. I got ketones running in my blood, but with the extended fast, that also helps me kind of get into a natural ketosis as well. So I'm kind of manipulating the two right now and trying to work that, because, I'm sure you guys listened to Robert Sykes talk about back in the day when he was doing his, Western bodybuilding bodybuilding stuff and, all that. It's a really low carb, low fat, high protein deal. Well, I didn't want to bring my fats down to 5% or anything like that. I still wanted to stay around that 30 to 40% range. And I wanted to feel and see what the difference is. And it's been really interesting. I can say it's been good lately.
Very cool. Very cool.
No, that's great.
Yeah.
And just to throw it, and you'll probably get a kick out of this, because like every year my birthday, which is at the end of August, is kind of like my goal day. So like as soon as my birthday ends, it's like, all right, now like my hashtag, it's growing season. And like I'm talking to a buddy of mine, and he's just like, oh, I'm gonna do an 8-week goal with my son, kind of see what we can do. He's like, how long is yours? And I was thinking January. But and I have yet to eat dinner, but you're gonna love this. I have yet to eat dinner, but as it sits right now, I'm at 3,718 calories, 301 grams of protein, 3 grams of carbs, and 271 grams of fat for the day, and I haven't eaten dinner yet.
Wow.
And
Wow,
Berto,
man.
you're like 175 right now?
Yeah, I think last I weighed myself, I was at 170. I lost a few pounds on the hike, which I knew I would, but whatever. I'm not gonna sweat it. It was like quite literally probably all water weight. But before the hike, I was somewhere between 176 and 178. And when I came back, I was 174, and I haven't weighed myself since. But it's probably bounced back, I'm sure.
Dude, here's the deal. I'll tell you. So when I took that time and the 2.5 years off, before that, I was training. I was going to be a spokesman for Jacked Up Energy, which is this crazy energy drink, but they came out with a protein shot that was kind of like a 5-hour energy shot, but it was called Jacked Up MVP, minerals, vitamins, protein. And I was going to be the spokesperson for it back in 2012, 13-ish, somewhere in there. And when they approached me about doing it, I had 90 days to get into the most absolute best shape possible. And so I was like, okay, I'm going all in. I hired my buddy, even though I'm a trainer. Trainers still sometimes need a little push. So I hired my buddy that competed and everything. I said, Mitch, man, we need to go, and we need to go now. And so I was eating 5,500 calories a day. I'm working out 3.5 hours a day. I mean, my food bill alone every month was about $1,800 a month. It was stupid. And then the supplements and all that stuff. And unfortunately, it was supposed to be in Walmart, and we were going to have like this kiosk cut out of me in the aisles and all this stuff. And then that December, Walmart got a new CEO, and they put a pause on all new products coming in. And I was so pissed off. And so when I was 255 pounds this time last year, it was a true mental game, because I was like, I don't want to work out like that again, and I don't want to eat like that again. Like, it really took a lot for me to change my mindset into saying, okay, baby steps. Guys, I tell you, if you saw my workouts I was doing literally a year ago this time, they were 3 times a week for 30 minutes, and they were the most handsy, weakest little workouts ever. And now I'm throwing up weight. I've had 3 people in the last 2 weeks come to me and say that I'm on steroids right now. Even my best friend, that we talk on video chat, and he hit me up last Saturday night. He's like, Cody, man, like, honestly, what's the deal? You're taking something. And I'm like, no. I'm like, I will do blood work right now. This is all straight keto. This is fasting. This is me eating real food, because when I was doing the 5,500 just to get those calories in, I was taking all these shakes and everything. And now what my post-workout, I don't take a post-workout shake. I eat 9.5 ounces of ground beef with 3 eggs in it. That's my post-workout. And then it isn't until like 3 or 4 that I have that grass-fed protein shake. But yeah, right after, I totally eat for sure.
That's
very cool.
I like it.
Very cool. Well, let's see. Let's go ahead and recap real quickly. So the Keto Spectacular and Fitness Competition is October 12th in Dallas, Texas, at the NXT Rep Fitness location. Is that all accurate?
Let me go ahead and say, so it's we are going to have also another event, the 11th. It's going to be a lift and greet. So I'm going to shut my gym down for 2 hours. I think it's going to be from 6 to 8, so that way people can get off work. But people that have registered to get tickets, if you go to NAKAathletes.com, it's totally free to get tickets. Register, get your tickets, and all the ambassadors, Robert, Goody Beats, I've got the Keto Hulk coming in. I've got tons of guys coming in. They're going to be in the gym, and we'll be, anybody that are followers of everybody and myself, we're going to be in there working out. You can work out with everybody. You can come in and film, and so it's a lift and greet. and I'm shutting it down just for all the keto people that are coming in, and for 2 hours. So that's going to be the Friday night before on the 11th, and then Saturday we're opening the doors at 8 a.m. and Keto Chef Max is going to do a cooking demo at 8 a.m. and then about 9:30, 10 o'clock is when the bodybuilding competition is going to start. And so it'll be the women's figure going first, and then in between we are going to have the Keto Hulk do some guest posing, and then the men's physique competition will go on. And then once that's over, then that's when the 6 guest speakers are going to speak. So that'll probably be about a 4-hour window of guest speakers talking, and it'll all be in one big room. It's actually not going to be at my gym. It's going to be at the building next door, which is about a 12,000 square foot facility. And so people can go and check out all the exhibit booths and still listen to the guest speakers, because it's all going to be in one room at the same time. Yeah. And so, we'll do that, and then we'll bring all the competitors back up at the end and do the awards ceremony. And we should be done right around 5:30 in the afternoon.
Very, very cool. Okay, gents. Well, any other questions? So that was, so let's go over the social stuff real quickly, because, like website where people can register to get tickets, to attend, all of that stuff real quickly. I don't want to skip over that.
Yeah. So NAKAathletes.com, and you'll see the tab that says, tickets up there, and it'll take you to an Eventbrite. Again, 100% free. We've got so far about 150 people that's gotten tickets. So totally do that. And then if you want to follow us on Instagram, so that way you can get instant updates, just go to National Athletic Keto ASSN_NAKA, and then also you can follow me at Fit Keto Cowboy, and I'm posting on both of them for all the NAKA events and updates and all that good stuff. And then also the 2 weeks following, at the same location where the NAKA competition is, I'm speaking at Allie Miller's book tour. So it's going to be myself, Sean Wells speaking, Susie Bates, the owner of Poopery and Supernatural, and then Allie Miller, she's going to be speaking. And it's going to be more of a private event. Tickets are going to cost $65 to $95, and there's going to be VIP and book signing and all that good stuff. And that's October 26th, and there's an Eventbrite for that as well.
Very, very cool. Okay. Well, gents, one last time, any parting questions or anything else to add?
I would just say, kudos to you for just everything that you've done, and as far as you've taken and everything. I mean, you've really made an impact in a number of ways. So nice work, and I hope everything goes well for you next month.
Thank you. I'm really passionate about this. I mean, as you guys see, I didn't charge anything. I didn't charge the exhibitors to come in and sell their products. I didn't charge the competitors to compete. I'm toting the note on all this. So I'm passionate. I want this to happen, and I want to really prove to the rest of the fitness industry that keto's real and it's going somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's great, man. I said, like, everything you said is kind of, I love the stories and I'm sure there's a lot of struggles in there that, that we're part of it as well. But like everything that you've gone through and your whole journey to get to where you're at today was just almost like one of those, everything just kind of falls into place one after the other, and you position yourself in a spot to have these opportunities come up. And that doesn't happen by chance. And I had a good friend who always told me, you know what, the harder you work, the luckier you get. And I have yet to have that fail me.
Yeah. Totally believe that. My old high school coach said, luck is labor under correct knowledge.
Oh, that's even better.
Yeah, that's pretty
Wait, say that one more time. Luck is what?
Luck is labor under correct knowledge.
Huh.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot.
When you really stop and think about that really makes sense.
Writing it down as we speak.
We just got one follow from the Keto Cholo. That's me, and that was started as a joke at KetoCon, and it just kind of took on a life of its own. And you can thank Chris for that name. And like I always say, it's a crime that name wasn't taken before I took it.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah. Let's recap our socials real quickly. We have them all in the links. If you go to the KetoMansClub.com, you'll get links there as well. But I'm Duckman Keto, and Jim
Inman Jr. Jim Inman Jr.
And then the Keto Cholo already kind of promoted himself a little bit, which is totally cool. He really does post some great stuff, and that story will just continue to be amazingly funny to me. I really do. I'm mad that I wasn't able to get video of it. People keep saying, why wasn't there video? And we need to recreate it. We do. It needs to happen.
Well, we can most definitely recreate it. So just so we don't leave Cody hanging. When we were at KetoCon, we decided to get barbecue, and KetoCon was over. I had took my volunteer shirt off, wearing my Dickie shorts, threw a wife beater on. The only thing and I had the I had the bandana in the truck, and I almost put it on. I always wear a bandana. I almost put it on, and I'm like, I just didn't. So I threw my sunglasses on. So there's me riding on this little electric scooter, sunglasses, wife beater, Dickie shorts, and Converse All-Stars.
Classic.
Ripping down the sidewalk with my cute little bell dinging at people, and Chris just couldn't get enough of it.
Yeah, something about a guy who very much looks like a cholo riding on a scooter.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Okay. Well, to our listeners, definitely check out the website for links to the group, to the podcast, to our socials. We have a Facebook page now that you can go and like. So for our female members of our audience that have just been listening in somehow, you have a place that you can go and get more information. You can follow us on Instagram as a podcast at Keto Man's Club Podcast. And so we've got quite a few ways that you can connect with us. So we even have a voicemail on, and we want you to call and leave your questions for us, because at some point in the future, we might try to answer it ourselves, or we might actually get somebody to come in and give us some answers as well. And so we've got one really good question so far, and a few prank calls. So you can call us at 512-518-6161 and leave us a voicemail, and your question, your comment, whatever you've got, we're thankful for it. Lastly, before we sign off, a gentle reminder: if you haven't taken the opportunity to leave a comment or to leave a review and rating, please do on Apple Music, on Apple Music, or whatever platform you listen on. If you have the ability to do so, please do. That just helps get word out, helps on the rankings a little bit, and all of that. And always share with those who you think this might be valuable to, which I hope would be any man, because these conversations, I think they show that any one of us can regain our health and use keto to do so. Okay, we've gone long. Cody, thank you so much for sharing your story with us, and we're excited. I am going to be looking into trying to get that Saturday off to
road trip.
To get up there to Dallas. I may have to swap days, but I'm just me and Berta are down here in Austin, so we're not far away at all.
Yeah, totally. I hope you guys come down there and definitely grab me. I'm probably going to be running around with a chicken with a head cut off, but hey, grab me and say, hey, what's going on?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you for reaching out to us to let us know, because we could have totally missed this, and this is a great event to get to promote and to share. So thank you so much
for having me on, for sure.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, that's it. That's it for this evening. Until next week, eat meat, lift heavy, sleep, and repeat. Thank you for joining us for the Keto Man's Club podcast. Your support means the world to us. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. Would you help us spread the word about the Keto Man's Club by sharing with your friends and family? We're available on all podcast platforms, so just search for Keto Man's Club and you'll find us. If you would like to connect with us, you can do so a number of ways. Our web address leads to our Facebook group, theketomansclub.com. That's TheKetoMansClub.com. You can also follow us on Instagram at Keto Man's Club Podcast. Lastly, if you have any comments or questions, feel free to reach out via email to KetoMansClubPodcast@gmail.com. Thank you again for joining us today, and we look forward to hanging out with you again next week.